Hello, listeners. Welcome to the 11th and final episode of Are You Ready to Rock? Hello, my name's Kevin Borras. Welcome to Are You Ready to Rock, the podcast of the SPRUCE network. SPRUCE stands for Specialists Providing Road User Charging Expertise, and for the 11th and final time, I am joined by such a road user charging expert, and today is the turn of Lionel Clement. Lionel, how are you?
Fine, and you, how are you?
Good, I'm all right, thank you very much. Despite the voice, I apologise for the voice. I have picked up a cold in the last 2 hours, but still, I shall soldier on. So, the idea of these podcasts, I think, hopefully, if you've listened to other ones before, is we just get to know a little bit more about the 11 or indeed 12 members of the SPRUCE network. So let's talk to Lionel. So Lionel, most people in the tolling sector know who you are. You're one of the most well-known and respected tolling professionals in Europe, and certainly in France. But can you tell our listeners perhaps a little bit more about you? I know you've worked for the Ministry of Transport and you worked with Group Aegis for several years, but what's your background in terms of tolling and in terms of some of the major projects that you've worked on?
I spent 34 years in transport economics because I'm very interested in this field. I did a PhD many years ago on this field. And I have been involved in many projects. When I was in Aegis, I was in charge of Eurotoll projects with 13 partners about tolling in Europe. I have been also in charge of research projects like consolidation and pricing research integration, CAPRI. I have also worked on many motorways in Eastern Europe with the Aegis Group. In some countries, and I have been involved also in the first PPP analysis in France, for example, in the A25 in the north of France. I have been involved also in the other projects in the southwest of France or in Strasbourg, for example, the bypass of Strasbourg. And I have done also many projects in the field of railways for high-speed line, always in relation with economics and socioeconomics aspects. Concerning Africa, I have been in charge of a big project in relation between the port of Lomé to the Burkina Faso, a freight corridor by road with the construction of a logistical platform in relation with the Mondial Bank for 2 years.
Okay, so yeah, your work in Africa, you mentioned before we started recording, you worked in Togo as well, is that right?
Yes, I did 2 studies in Togo, one concerning the building of platforms on the north of Lomé, and one considered in relation with the corridor between Lomé and Sinkasse.
Okay, that's interesting.
With the World Bank. With the World Bank.
Oh, with the World Bank. Okay, fine, perfect. So that's actually leads nicely to the next question, because SPRUCE is, as we know, a partnership of road user charging experts. There are 12 of you, and you all have different. You come from different aspects. You've got different experiences and different particular subjects that you focus on, different areas of expertise. So, what do you say? What is your unique selling point? What do you bring to the table that the others don't? And that's why I'm thinking of the African links is interesting. I don't know if the other guys have worked in Africa, and is that an interesting sort of sidetrack is the right phrase to what SPRUCE is doing, that you have an interest in Africa and you have an understanding of how African tolling, how African culture and countries and companies work?
My interests in projects transport projects, road projects, and rail projects is based on the evaluation of these projects. The evaluation is before and after the realization of the projects. And I am focusing on economic and financial dimension and also on socioeconomic evaluation, which means that everything which is in link with economic aspects. I have also two fields of intervention, one in relation with the contracts, because they have a certification in law in France for these aspects. I can do that legally. And I am also very interested by the value analysis to understand how projects can have to function, to be realized, and how to make the valuation of the projects in terms of added value, we can say in some words, to be short.
Excellent. Yeah. So the contract side of things hugely important, of course, in any multinational or international projects. Okay, that's a good place to have.
Yeah, there is an important economic dimension in the contracts.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay, that's great. As a definite unique selling point. So the idea of road user charging, essentially, intrinsically, is that it's based on fairness, that you pay for the roads that you use and you don't pay for the roads that you don't use, which is not always the way that it's sold to the public. So what do you consider to be the three most important factors to take into account when you are consulting on a road user charging project internationally? And how do those three things change from country to country or from continent to continent?
I think first that we have to consider we have to understand the road user charging. Road user charging means that you have a relation with something, and the relation is what services you are waiting for. Road user charging you have to support, and this can be described like services like speed, travel time guarantees, security, comfort, and safety, and so on. Which means that we have to be to make the relation between the road user charging system you have to implement and what are the counterparts you have to consider as a user, because there is always a balance between the user and the taxpayers who are not going to benefit from these services. So this is a general consideration. But the main factors I think we have to take into account is to are able to estimate the degree of consideration. You have to link between the pricing that the user have to support and the type of service, as I described before. The second one is how you are able to estimate correctly the coverage of the long-term marginal costs of your projects, which mean that all the costs, CAPEX, OPEX, and so on, and sometimes now including environmental costs and externalities, you have to take into account in the road user charging system. Also, you need and you must be able to demonstrate the capacity of the projects to be profitable in a socioeconomic point of view. And finally, all these three factors have to be taken into account, all of them in the same analysis to be sure to secure the projects.
Yeah.
And to secure also, I can say, all the collectivity is going to appreciate this project. And there is no differentiation between the countries. In all the countries, you have to take into account these three factors to be sure to have a good project, because they are going to secure the contracts agreements you will have after when the project will be launched.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great answer. Thank you. So in terms of the other members of Spruce, it's unlikely that more than maybe 2 or 3, maybe not even that many, Spruce members will work together at any one time. Maybe you'll even be working on competing consortiums. But what do you consider to be the combined strength of Spruce as an entity, as a group of individuals and as teams within that grouping?
I think that the interest of Spruce is that you can have many type of experts. And these are experts who have a lot of experience and a strong capacity in their independence view about the expertise they can bring to the projects, and they can mobilize for the projects, which means that it can depend on the projects, because if you have 11, 12 different profiles, you can take the profiles you need to work on the project and to focus on one of them or 2 of them or 3 of them, etc., etc.
Yes. So, yes, I think Andy Graham in episode 9 described it as being like from the Stingray TV show, where they pick the experts for each operation. I guess I like the idea of that. So what do you think Spruce then can offer? Then there are other consultancies out there, there are other consortiums out there. So what do you think having a Spruce member on board a consortium can offer to that project?
For me, the main word is independence. I don't know if it's a good term in English, but we can say that each of us is independent, which means there is no relation with a large group, large structure, and so on. We have our own experience, we have a strong background, we have our relational networks, and so on. And each of us had or already had or have an implication in the field of research. I mean, I think these are the main points we can discuss together in our different fields, bringing our expertise. And the other aspects is that we can have also a human size on the group, and we will be more able also to be present during all of a project with the clients, which means that with us, the client is not going to have a curriculum vitae and 3 months after or 6 months after another one. He will have the expert at the beginning of the project to the end of the project.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That's definitely that's a plus point. You're right, indeed. Well, Lionel, that's been a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Been good to meet you. Most of the people I've interviewed so far I've known for years. Lionel and I haven't met before, so this is an interesting exercise. Thank you very much indeed for that. So that is it. That is the final episode. That's episode 11 of Are You Ready to Ruck? So thank you everyone for listening. Hope you can watch the previous or listen to the previous 10 episodes on YouTube. You can also listen on YouTube, not just watch. Maybe that's where you're watching it from now. I'd like to thank everyone for taking part, all 11 members. We should also thank Mark Hendricks from Cutting It Fine Film for doing the great job on the editing. Also, thank you to the band, Icarus and the Astronaut, for the music, which was written by William Schott and John Santiago. So thanks so much indeed to everybody. So thank you for listening. I hope you've learned something about road user charging, different aspects, and what a consortium or network such as Spruce can bring to your table or to your project. My name is Kevin Borras. Thank you very much indeed. Goodbye.